Hello, and in this part 2 video I'd like to look at the topic describe a country or city that you would like to live or work in the future. And you should say where the country or city is, why you would like to live or work there, who you would like to live or work with, and why you would like it. Now, first of all, I think it's important to point out that in this kind of question, where it's a would question, think about using the second conditional. If you don't know what the second conditional is, then go away and learn it. I'm not going to teach you it in this video, but here is an example of it being used. If I had the chance to live anywhere in the world, I would choose. If you want to make it a little bit more complex, you could say, if I was given the opportunity to live anywhere in the world, I would choose. And this is slightly more complex because we've got the passive was given, and we've also got the collocation to be given the opportunity to do something. So this makes your answer even more complex. So let's take a look at the model answer now. If I was given the opportunity to live anywhere in the world, I would choose Italy. There are a number of key factors in my decision. Firstly, the food. I'm a massive fan of Italian cuisine, and as a vegetarian, I would be able to find plenty to eat. Pizza, pasta, and risotto are my favourite dishes, and I could easily live on them. I would probably be clinically obese after a couple of months, though. A further major reason is that I would love to speak Italian fluently. I can already get by in the language, however, I'd love to be able to speak like a native. It's an incredibly beautiful and melodic language, and if I was living there, I'm sure I could pick it up fairly quickly. Although I can think of millions of reasons why I'd love to relocate there, one of the main ones is that I am captivated by Italian art. For example, in Rome there is a Sistine Chapel, which is covered in frescoes. It is my dream to see this masterpiece. Oh, I don't think I've mentioned the weather. Well, I come from a country with a relatively cold climate, and therefore I would relish the opportunity to live in a warmer country. I'm a sun worshipper, and sadly I do not get the chance to sunbathe or chill out in the sun. So, as you can see, there are a number of reasons why Italy would be my chosen destination. I'm not entirely sure what I would do in terms of work, but I can worry about that later. I'm hoping that I don't have to work. I would love to have the time to write a novel, as it has long been my dream to become a published author. My spouse and kids are also lovers of all things Italian, so I'm pretty sure that I would have no trouble persuading them to move there with me as well. So let's take a look at this model answer. First of all, if you get this question, then think about the different areas that you can talk about. So think about the food, the language, maybe something like the art that I've used here, the weather, and what kind of job you're going to do when you're there. And if you think about 4 or 5 different areas to talk about, you'll have plenty to say in the 2 minutes. So like I said at the start off with a second conditional. Really wow the examiner from the moment you start speaking. Then we have a number of key factors. This is a collocation, key factors. You could use it in IELTS writing as well, and it means important factors. Remember that we don't want to be using I like or I dislike. I'm a massive fan of. Instead of saying food, we can use the word cuisine. Vegetarian, you may not be a vegetarian, but if you are, it's a useful word to pop in there, so somebody who doesn't eat meat. And notice that I'm continuing to use would throughout my answer, because it's not definite that I'm going there, so I can't use will. Plenty to eat means lots of things to eat. Think about the food of your chosen place and make sure you can talk about it. Pizza, pasta, risotto are all typical foods of Italy. And if you say, I could easily live on them, it means you could eat nothing else but these foods. This is a useful phrase both for IELTS writing and speaking. If you're talking about health, obese means very overweight. If you're clinically obese, it means really, really severely overweight and the doctor has said you are overweight. Remember to give your answer structure, so a further major reason instead of just starting with another thing is. And speak Italian fluently. This means perfectly. To get by in a language means you have enough vocabulary to speak, but you're not fluent. To speak like a native means a native speaker of Italian, somebody who's born there. And when you describe a language as melodic, it means it has a melody. It sounds very beautiful, like you're singing. Here I've got the past continuous, a really great tense to impress the IELTS examiner, because I'm imagining I'm not living there, but if I was living there, I'm sure I could pick it up fairly quickly. If you pick up a language, it means you learn it really without studying it. Relocate is a useful verb for this topic because it means to move to another place. Another example of avoiding I like. I am captivated by. Frescoes, not a word that you would use in lots of IELTS topics, but when painting has been done on walls, on the plaster on walls, like it was done in Italy a lot in the past, they're called frescoes. And a masterpiece is a fantastic work of art that has been created by a famous artist. Here's a discourse marker that you could use in IELTS speaking when you're saying, oh, I don't think I have mentioned, and you're using the present perfect, which is another one to tick a box for the IELTS examiner. And I'm saying I come from a relatively cold climate. This means compared to other countries. It's not freezing cold, but it's relatively cold. Climate meaning weather. This is a good collocation. If you relish the opportunity, it's like you would enjoy the opportunity of doing something. Here's another example of some very complex language. A sun worshipper, useful for other topics of holidays, and this is a person who loves the sun. Chill out, just very good informal idiomatic language to mean relax. My chosen destination, this is the place I have chosen to go. Remember, instead of I don't know, I'm not entirely sure. A novel, a book, a story. It has long been my dream is like saying it has been my dream for a long time. A published author, rather than just saying a writer, I'm making it more complex, a published author, so an author who has had books published. And again, I'm just trying to throw words in to impress the IELTS examiner, so instead of saying my husband, my spouse. And if you persuade somebody to do something, but here you would have no trouble persuading somebody to do something, it means you will easily be able to get them to agree with you. So lots of great vocabulary in this model answer. Key thing to remember in this type of topic with a would is to make sure that you use would throughout your answer. And don't switch to start saying, I will do this, because it's not a definite thing that's going to happen. Thank you very much for watching this video, and good luck if you're taking your IELTS exam soon.